Hello and welcome again to a brand new week. And this is Strictly Business with Okoyemi Manuel. I'm here again to share with you how you can start your business without being an expert. All right, so let's dive straight into it. So recently I've been getting calls from friends asking me, okay, how is it possible for one to survive and succeed in business without necessarily being an expert in that field? So what I mean by that is, for example, you want to start a tech company, you have an idea of a tech product or tech idea, and then you are not necessarily a developer, you are not a UI/UX designer, you are not in the tech, you don't have any tech skill at all. Can you really, run a tech company without necessarily being a tech person or, stuff like that? Or you want to start a restaurant, or you want to go into the catering business and you don't know how to cook? So it's a yes and a no, right? So it has its own pros and cons. But what I would say is that I think 90% of the time is very, very important and expedient that you actually know the business of that business. When I mean the business of that business, even though you don't have the core skills required to maybe do what is required in that business. For example, you don't know how to cook very well, you are not a developer, or you are not into maybe you are not a fashion designer, you don't know how to sew the clothes, but you need to know how the business works. You need to know where to get raw material at the very least price. You need to know how the numbers work. What is the profitability of that business? You need to know how to relate with customers. You know how to get your customer segment. You need to know the business of that business. You need to know how it works. Otherwise, you will be at the mercy of your employees. And if, as a matter of fact, you will probably not make money in that business. So what I would say is a yes, because you can go into a business without necessarily being an expert. So if you don't have the core skill required to start a business, what I would advise is that I will advise strongly that you know how that business works. So you can either join someone who already does this business and learn from them for a while, maybe a year or two. You can be an apprentice with someone. Apprentice is not a bad word. People think it's for maybe the low end of the people at the low end of the ladder, or people that don't know what to do. But apprentice is just you interning somewhere and trying to learn a skill for a period of time. So you can join someone who already knows this business or already currently runs this business and is doing very well. So you can join and intern with them for a while and learn the trade and learn the basic core skill required to run that business. So you need to know how the profit is, where the profit is in that business. Is it that where is the secret place they buy their raw materials at the cheapest price? How do they sell to customers? How do they combine the resources or the raw materials to form the final products to be able to sell at that pricing? You need to know the business of that business. You need to know how the business runs typically. So you don't necessarily you have to have an idea of every part of this business. So you don't have to necessarily be a specialist or an expert in a particular area. You want to start a bakery, for example. Someone has asked me, I want to start a bakery, I don't know how to bake bread. Yes, you can start a bakery without knowing how to bake bread, but you need to have an idea of how the bakery business works. How do they make money in baking, in making bread and making pastries and all of that? You need to know the numbers. You need to know where to get raw material and to source for raw material at the cheapest price. You need to know how to sell to customer. What kind of customer do you want to serve? And you need to know all of these things. You need to have an idea. And as a matter of fact, I will advise strongly that you have an idea of how the bread is even made. You need to have an idea. You might not know how to make it to the best of as a professional baker, but you need to have an idea of what they put together to make bread, so that you are not at the mercy of your chief baker, right? And they tell you, oh, we have to get 2 bags of flour to make 20 bread or loaves of bread, and because you don't have an idea, then you just send them the money, and then guy, they are just going to be cutting your neck. So that's what I'm saying. So yes, because you can start with your passion, with your zeal, and with your resource, you can start that business, but advise strongly that don't go into that business without having the knowledge of how that business works. That is one. Then two, if you don't want to intern with someone, or if you don't want to join someone to learn the trade of that business, what you can do is to hire a smart person, a chief baker, a chief cook, a tech person, a partner who is a developer in any of these businesses. You can hire someone who knows that business very well, who has the core competence in that business, and partner with them. But partnering with them not just because you want to focus on something else or on the business. You should partner with them because you want to learn from them. So you hire someone smarter than you who has the core competence, but you partner with them just to understudy them while you're working together. So in the space of a year or two, you can already know what they do, how they do what they do. Not necessarily to take over from them, but you can know what they do so that they can't bobo you. the word bobo in Nigerian context, right? So they can't sway you off your feet and allow you to cheat you from the business. So that's what I'm saying. So advantages quickly of why you should be an expert in your business is that, or why you should know the business of your business is that, number one, it will help you to track your numbers. You will know where the profit is coming from when you are an expert in that business that you are into. Number two, it will help you to really help. In fact, this I enjoy in my business a lot. Most times my developers run into challenges in what they are writing in terms of codes, and because I'm an expert in this business, I can easily tell them, this is where you're getting it wrong, do it like this, look for this material, I've experienced this 2 years ago, this is how I solved this. So when you are an expert in your business, you can really help. In fact, your leadership effectiveness is very, very high, because you can help your staff when they are stuck with different things. So as a baker, if you are a former baker and you're a chief baker before you start your bakery, if your bakers are getting stuck or they are not producing the best bread, you can easily tell them the combination to use. Or if you're a cook, you can tell your cooks what to do and all of that. So if you are an expert, it helps you to help your staff, and they will respect you more, they will hold you in high esteem, and they will value you more, and your leadership effectiveness is at 100%. And lastly, but not the least, is that the advantage is that you will know how to handle your customer very well. When you are an expert in your field, you have this confidence. You can't buy this confidence anywhere. You can't buy with money, even if you have the best of resources. But when you're an expert in your field and you're talking to customers, there is this peace that you have, because you can talk from a place of experience. You can talk from a place of professionalism and a place of core competence. So you can address them and tell them, this is the problem you're facing, this is the solution to what the problem is, and you can provide solution from a place of confidence and competence. So those are the three reasons why you should be an expert in your business. And like I said, if you are not an expert, that is not a blocker. You can still start a business, but try to get into knowing the business of that trade. You can partner with someone, you can hire an expert, you can make sure that you find people around you who know this thing, but make sure that you learn it in a very short time. So this is what I'm saying today. You can be a business person without necessarily being an expert, but it's better if you are an expert. Thank you for joining me today. This is still Strictly Business with Okoyemi Emmanuel, and I will see you next time. Thank you.